But with PayPal, okay, so what do you do? So he went back to all the agreements with Braintree and the prior management team. Their go-to-market strategy was just undercut Adyen. So you guys don't know the three players: Stripe, Adyen, and Braintree. Those are the three major ones. Adyen is by far the best enterprise. Then you have Stripe, which is really good for small business. And then Braintree is doing a little bit of both. So PayPal's kind of in there with both. In order to get market share, because they were playing catch up, they just underpriced a lot of their deals. And in some cases, they were losing money. And this was actually known back in 2023. All you had to do, PayPal wasn't admitting this, right? So you listen to PayPal and they're like, they're not telling you we're losing money in some deals. Adyen was telling you that. Adyen was basically saying, there are some people, they wouldn't name names, coming onto the market and they're signing these arrangements, but they're doing it in a way that we won't match because we don't want to sacrifice our margins. And they said to something to the tune of, we don't even know how they're making money. Fast forward, we know that they were losing money. For Stripe, it's kind of like put to the side that because we don't have their information because they're not public. So Chris comes on to the show and he looks at all these agreements and he starts trying to tackle them in a way that sort of rearranges the equation that PayPal can actually make money. And I think that's a good move. You should definitely not sacrifice margins just for the sake of top line growth. Who cares about that? And that was showing in a variety of different metrics. Now, PayPal, you want to be very careful what you pay for it. You already know that. Everyone here knows that. And so the legacy business, I maintain my prior criticism, which is it's still a business that's probably in its mature phase. So you don't want to pay too high for that. But that being said, Braintree has all the bundle potential. Then the second thing they did, which is good for PayPal as the platform, they started an agreement with KKR where they started to sell the BNPL loan book. And that's good because that de-risks them. When that happened, I did give them praise. So Peter's watching. He remembers I came out and said, I remember where I was at the airport and I was like, oh, this news changed. I added Peter. I said, this is different. This is good. So because when they were piling on this BNPL, I felt like they were transitioning more to something that they weren't, which is more like a quasi bank. And you want them to be just like a toll booth, so to speak, of transactions. That move was also under Chris. So I applaud him for that. So those moves altogether kind of pushed me up to be, okay, a bit more optimistic, and I would put an eye on it. Then the sell-off happens, and then that's your opportunity. So they've already made some changes that you agree with. Now it's all about the price. So what I don't want to pay is anywhere like 15 above times earnings for this thing. I want to pay really realistically closer to that 10 times multiple. And that's basically what we got. Now, if they can drive growth in the legacy product and then also succeed in improving Braintree's prospects, then you have something that could actually drive really significant rates of return on your investment with, I think, on a risk-adjusted basis, something that makes it worth our while, so to speak. So that's kind of like where I'm at with PayPal.